Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
If you're still waiting on your inflation relief check from the state, you are not alone. Good evening. I'm Maya C. One-time payments of up to $1,050 are supposed to be filling the bank accounts of millions of eligible California taxpayers. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer looks at what's causing a delay and when you might expect to get your refund.
The middle-class tax refund is a one-time payment to provide relief to Californians who filed their 2020 tax return by last October. The payments will range from $400 to $1,050 for couples filing jointly and $200 to $700 for other individuals, depending on income level and claim dependence. The state said they began sending out the money 2 weeks ago, but the payments have been slow to roll out.
The bigger problem with the delay is, people might have seen this news that, oh, we're going to get this money, and they may have changed their behavior as a result of that.
The state is currently in the first phase of sending out the tax refund, and the next group will start receiving payments on October 24th. For those who electronically filed their taxes in 2020 and received a refund by direct deposit, their payment will come via direct deposit before November 14th. Other folks should expect to receive the money in the mail on a debit card as late as January 2023.
Somebody might have, moved up a purchase because they expected to get this check, by the end of October. If it's going to be delayed until November or even later, then that could potentially cause some problems.
$12 billion of tax rebates. We call it the Golden State Stimulus.
Golden State Stimulus, or GSS, recipients of 2021 are first in line to get the middle-class tax refund in 2022. Debit cards are being sent out in smaller batches, organized in alphabetical order by last name. GSS recipients are first up, broken into 4 groups, getting their debit cards in the mail between October 24th and December 10th.
But of course, not everybody's getting this, right? You had to have filed taxes, or paid taxes rather, in order to get this relief. And there's quite a few people, certainly, that are being strongly affected by inflation. Those with really low incomes that did not pay taxes last year.
The remaining eligible recipients will be paid between December 2022 and January 2023. The Franchise Tax Board expects to have issued about 8 million direct deposits and 10 million debit cards by early next year, and is expected to announce more precise dates next month. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
A one-stop shop with services and resources for veterans is open through the weekend in Vista. And to make it even more convenient, organizers are picking veterans up. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne went along for the ride.
So sometimes you gotta shake the bush.
The North County Veterans Stand-Down Shuttle makes its rounds.
All right. All ready? Yes, sir.
The van picks up veterans needing transportation to the 4-day event in Vista. Jeffrey Childs is one of those vets spending the weekend at Green Oaks Ranch. His dog Sky is welcome too and tagged along for the ride.
I'm a United States Army veteran, and I'm here to stand down.
It's Child's second time attending the event in search of resources.
I have issues like with my appeal, stuff like that. We're trying to stay in better housing, legal, and I have a dog here.
For the 6th year, North County Veterans Stand Down brings resources to one place.
We help homeless and all veterans with anything they need, with any help they need. VA benefits, a lot of disability benefits that the veterans don't take care of. But we have medical, dental, vision, and a lot of legal care, including homeless court, and a bunch of other services. We have free clothing and actually just counseling. It's a myriad of services we provide.
Matt Foster, the president of the event, says the resources available can help veterans resolve problems holding them back.
there's a lot of veterans that have issues. They can't get a job because they have a warrant or they have a ticket. They can't get a driver's license because they have a ticket. At this event, we can actually clear those charges. We can clear the warrants.
But Foster organizes this for more than just resources.
A good camaraderie, because I have a lot of veterans that just don't hang out with other veterans. They're antisocial, and they come here and they realize, hey, this could be all right. I could actually meet with people who are like me and not be so alone.
Free clothes, food, dental and eye exams, and overnight stays are some of the resources available until Sunday. Pets are welcome too and can receive veterinary services. The event is open to all veterans and volunteers in San Diego County until Sunday at noon. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
More than 17 million earthquake drills were held across America today for the Great American Shakeout. One of them happened at Kate Sessions Elementary School in San Diego. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado got to learn some important information on how to stay safe from a class of third grade students.
Reading, talking about the Padres. Just your typical day inside Mr. Romo's third grade classroom at Kate Sessions Elementary School in San Diego. But it's October 20th, and in just a few seconds, it will be 10:20. On this day and time, 9.6 million people across California are practicing what to do in case of an earthquake. After students drop, cover, and hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, number line order at the door. Go.
It's exciting at first as they head out the door, but they remember to stay calm. Soon, all 440 students make it out to the field. Now, it's back to the classroom, where students are eager to talk to Mr. Romo about the drill.
We want to know how you guys felt the entire time, okay? Be honest with them.
I felt kind of calm, but I also felt kind of scared, but not too scared, because if it was real, then I would be really scared, because I've never experienced the earthquake.
I was pretty emotional that I was kind of scared, and I don't know how I was feeling, like calm or I don't know.
It's normal to feel this way and why practicing is important.
To me, the most important thing that I would like my students to know is to stay calm. When they panic, that's when mistakes happen.
So during the real thing, even when you're nervous, you still know what to do, just like these students.
You really want to practice it a bunch because it will come unexpectedly. So you want to be prepared, like whenever it's going to happen, especially since this state is really of like earthquakes. And
if you're not cautious enough, there could be consequences.
So we all have to be ready.
Yeah.
Living in California is beautiful, but
there's lots of earthquakes.
Very good. Everyone give yourself a round of applause. Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
The November election will have a significant focus on local school board races, although candidates for those campaigns have usually been listed at the bottom of the ballot. KPBS education reporter MG Perez tells us the ongoing pandemic continues to fuel high emotions and interest in how school districts are run.
Yes, we have Well, I'll speak quickly. I listened to all these woke. Well, I'm sorry it's not okay, but what's really not okay is discrimination and racism.
It came fast and furious.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee.
Those are voices from school board meetings in San Diego County at different times during the COVID pandemic of the past 2.5 years. Hostility and hatred directed at those elected board members whose job is running school districts and spending taxpayer dollars. This is from a board meeting in May in the San Diego Union High School District.
So I wanted the money of the district to be spent wisely. This is my time. Please shut up. Let me speak. Okay?
Then there's this from a meeting of the Sweetwater Union High School District in 2020. Parents and teachers and community members have shown up like never before to blame and berate school board members about everything from mask mandates and vaccination requirements to critical race theory and LGBTQ representation.
If we don't start from an established set of facts, then it makes it very difficult to have any conversation beyond that.
Evan Crawford is a political scientist at the University of San Diego. He studies trends in school boards across the country.
Most of the job is what we would probably all still agree is nonpartisan. We have a certain budget that we have. Are we going to construct a school here? Are we going, we got to set the bus routes. We're hiring personnel.
There are more than 13,000 school boards in the U.S., 1,000 of them here in California alone. They are supposed to be nonpartisan, solving very localized problems. But COVID created universal chaos in education, along with deep-rooted political lines, which means your ballot for the November election has candidates with big party support, even if there is no capital R or D next to their name.
Strong Republicans or Democrats who have these passionate kind of partisan feelings and now see the school board as a partisan body, that might now be attractive to them.
And it's a hidden giant and so many opportunities to get people in, to have some say in their local school boards.
Sean Steele is a lifelong Republican. He chairs the California Republican Party and is the state representative on the Republican National Committee. He has been at work recruiting and training candidates for school boards in a program called Parent Revolt.
I don't care how much experience they have, if they are parents, and they love their kids and they're reasonable, I would support them, and that's including non-Republicans.
I would tell students in San Diego and across the country that your voice matters. You can make a difference.
Shiva Raj Bhandari is on the other side of the aisle and a couple of states away. He is 18 years old, a high school senior, and in September he was elected to the Boise, Idaho School Board, defeating an established incumbent candidate who accepted the endorsement of a local far-right paramilitary group known as the Idaho Liberty Dogs.
The only way we can stop that, the only way we can stand up for our schools is to put our foot down and say, no, enough. That extremism has no place here. Everyone is welcome to participate in decision-making regarding our schools, but hate and violence and hateful rhetoric have no place in Boise and anywhere else in the country.
Shiva's historic election is one solution to the unfolding political problem that is gripping school boards everywhere. It also provides a teachable moment, which Keisha Borden says is a good thing. She has decades of experience as a San Diego teacher who now serves as regional director for the California Teachers Association.
It's a lesson that shows how important it is for everyone to be involved in the democratic process.
Janie's got to go. Hey, hey. Oh, oh.
That lesson will not go quietly. MG Perez, KPBS News.
If you see the U.S. Senate race on your ballot twice, it's not a mistake, but it is a bit confusing. Democrat Alex Padilla was appointed to the U.S. Senate when Kamala Harris became vice president. His opponent is Republican constitutional lawyer Mark Muser. Voters will be asked to make their choice to fill the last 2 months of Harris's term and then vote again for a new 6-year term. Padilla, who is California's first Latino U.S. senator, is a favorite to win. In the June primary election, he got about 54% of the vote among 23 contestants. Muser finished second with just under 15%. And for more on the election, you can check out the KPBS Voter Hub. That is where you'll find all of our reporter stories, our explainers of some of the key races, and an in-depth ballot guide tailored to your district. And you can get there by clicking the Voter Hub link on the KPBS homepage. A political earthquake in the United Kingdom. Prime Minister Liz Truss is resigning after just 6 weeks in office. Mike Valerio has reaction from President Biden and what happens next.
To her growing list of critics, it was simply a matter of no trust in the Truss government. Just one day after British Prime Minister Liz Truss said she wasn't leaving 10 Downing Street.
Mr. Speaker, I am a fighter and not a quitter.
Truss resigned less than 2 months after the late Queen Elizabeth II asked her to form a government.
I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party.
She's now set to become the shortest-serving prime minister in British history. Her proposed tax cuts for the wealthy, as middle-class Britons face a bleak winter of economic hardship, sent the British pound into a tailspin. The government has since walked back its tax plan. Fellow Conservative members of Parliament are now looking to steady the ship.
We're not playing the role that we usually play on the international stage, with the world getting more dangerous, not less. It's been very, very difficult.
President Joe Biden saying he's not concerned about potential economic instability in the UK spilling over into the US, days after he publicly called Truss's trickle-down economic vision a mistake. Outside the White House this morning.
Look, she was a good partner on Russia and Ukraine, and the British are going to solve their problem. But she was a good partner.
As for what's next, Britain's Conservative Party says it will have a new party leader and therefore the next prime minister ready by next Friday. But the opposition Labour Party is calling foul and wants an early nationwide general election. Mike Valerio, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, what's next for the UK now that its prime minister has resigned after only 6 weeks? Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
A historic landmark in the Sherman Heights neighborhood will finally get some much-needed repairs. The Villa Montezuma Museum received $5 million from the state to undergo restoration. Senator Ben Hueso presented the check to Mayor Todd Gloria and the Friends of the Villa Montezuma this morning. The money will pay for various repairs as well as an ADA pathway around the museum. The home was built in 1887 by renowned British pianist and composer Jesse Shepherd.
Jesse lived all over the world, but this was his only home that he built and was his. He would have no idea that this magnificent Palace of the Arts would survive the years and continue to inspire others to love art, music, and literature like he did.
And after moving to San Diego, Shepherd also worked as an author under the pen name Francis Grierson. The Villa Montezuma officially opened as a museum in 1972, and the museum is open Friday through Sunday with tours scheduled from 1 to 4 p.m. Parking in the wrong place at the wrong time might cost you more starting next year. The San Diego City Council is considering a plan to increase the amount of street sweeping tickets. Violations would cost $68.50. That's up $12 from the current price. The city is under pressure to boost revenue to cover stormwater costs. A council committee has passed the proposal, but a date for a full vote is not yet set. While we're feeling the heat here in San Diego, temperatures are dropping across much of the country. Today, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration released its winter weather outlook. Ivan Rodriguez has a look at what may be in store.
Winter is coming, and Americans in the northern tier of the country should brace themselves for cooler than average conditions, according to NOAA's newly released winter weather outlook.
We are favoring below normal temperatures for that season from the Pacific Northwest across the northern Rockies to the northern plains, further eastward to the western Great Lakes.
Precipitation chances also up for northern states, the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, that could set the stage for some snow days.
On average over the season, we are favoring generally above normal snowfall in those generally colder and some of the wetter areas.
But not everyone in the U.S. will face a frosty future. Much of the southern half of the country and along the eastern seaboard will likely see warmer than average temperatures due to the anticipated reappearance of La Nina for a third consecutive year. However, La Nina also puts a damper on precipitation. That means places already experiencing extreme drought like the West, Great Plains, and parts of the Southeast could see conditions persist or worsen.
We tend to have drier than normal conditions along the southern tier of the U.S., and so that's why drought expansion is predicted.
But winter weather is fickle. Fluctuations in La Nina, along with changes in Arctic oscillation patterns, are harder to predict. So those wild winter events like polar vortexes and bomb cyclones can still drop in and drop the temperature, despite the current outlook. In Washington, Ivan Rodriguez, KPBS News.
With a cold winter on the horizon, it's expected to be more expensive to stay warm at home. The U.S. Department of Energy is projecting sharp price increases for home heating compared to last winter. Amid high energy costs and tight fuel supplies, Congress recently added $1 billion to the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, bringing the total to at least $4.8 billion. But that's a big cut from last year when federal pandemic relief pumped up the program.
I'm meteorologist Ariella Scalise. Let's start with those weather headlines, what we can expect as we continue to wrap up our week and head into the weekend. We're tracking more of an offshore flow, and that's going to spread some cooler air further inland. We're still going to deal with those clouds through the night, through the morning as that marine layer continues to deepen. And we do have a mainly dry stretch of weather on the way, while some a little bit further to our east could deal with a shower or storm this weekend. I do think here around San Diego we will be staying mainly dry. We'll get to that forecast in a minute, but let's turn to your overnight lows, what you can expect. Oceanside down to about 58, so cooler than here in the city, 66. Borrego Springs drops to 63, and Mount Laguna drops to about 50 degrees. The setup for tomorrow still very, very dry, and temperatures continue to really stay warm. Around the Four Corners, things are looking pretty seasonable as we head throughout our Friday. What can we expect through our Friday? Well, about 75 in Oceanside with lots of sunshine throughout the afternoon. San Diego makes up to about 76, and Mount Laguna down up to about 69 for a high on Friday. How about for the weekend? Well, it's going to start to get pretty windy, so heads up for that. I mentioned the chance of those showers. I do think those will stay well to our north and to our east as we head into the day on Saturday. So if you're any plans to Vegas, up to Salt Lake City, to Reno, could run into a few of those showers. Otherwise, very windy weather does begin to move on in as we head into the weekend. Here's your 5-day outlook along the coast as we head into the coming days here. We should stay mainly dry. You see that chance of a shower popping up on Saturday. I think we'll see some clouds, but should be mainly dry as we head into the inland valleys. Temperatures will be warm for our Friday, but then turning much cooler as we head into the weekend before warming back up Monday and Tuesday. In the mountains, temperatures into the upper 60s Friday, and then we'll see some 50s and low 60s Sunday into early next week. And wrapping things up in the desert, 90s for Friday, but then we'll see some 70s and 80s as we head into the weekend. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Ariella Scalise.
There are some San Diego County students tonight who are waiting for a new pair of glasses. They've struggled with their eyesight and some difficult life challenges. KPBS education reporter MG Perez is back now with their success stories.
Try to relax.
Reading LDPOF off an eye chart is a challenge for 17-year-old Genesis Buenrostro. It isn't her only challenge.
I would rather buy diapers for my kid, buy him clothes, than worry about glasses.
Genesis is a single mother with her son Luis, who is almost 2 years old. He stays in the Lindsay Community School nursery while she attends high school, and today gets her eyes checked.
It's like me with my eyesight. I'm like, okay, like I'm trying to figure out how to actually look at words and not have a problem with it. But with glasses, it's like I'm actually gonna have an opportunity not to struggle to be sitting all the way in the front or sitting all the way in the back, or I have a clear vision of everything.
Okay, blink. We're gonna do both eyes together.
The San Diego County Office of Education is partnered with VSP Vision. Their doctors provide free comprehensive exams and a new pair of glasses. There are students here from 4 county community schools. Some of them are young parents, others are going through the juvenile court system. They are all in need of help with their vision, just like most teenagers.
They're spending too much time focusing and overworking their eye muscles when they're on their cell phones, reading up close for long, so they need to take breaks and they need some correction sometimes.
This kind of help has not been available to these students since the COVID shutdown. That's almost 3 years without an eye exam or other optical care. And for some of the students, it's been even longer. Naomi Mesa has done her best to get through class without glasses.
I try to sit in front of the classes, in front of the, to be able to see better, but it's still too far, so I have to take pictures with my phone and copy it down. But then, you have to do that whole thing, so you get behind.
She'll get her glasses in the next couple of weeks and become another success story.
When the student gets the glasses, this has happened before where they put them on and they're just a little bit silent. I'm thinking of one kid in North County in particular, and he said, I didn't realize I was supposed to be able to read that,
Genesis Buenrostro sees a bright future in the eyes of her young son.
MG
Perez, KPBS News.
Padres fans are still talking about yesterday's game, but what happened last weekend is something one fan will never forget. Ryan Miller attended the closeout game against the Dodgers, and after the win, he got close to the field and asked pitcher Joe Musgrove to scatter some of his brother's ashes. Miller says his brother lost his life to mental illness in 2019 and has this advice for others who are struggling.
Get rid of the stigma. Don't be afraid to talk about it, especially us guys. You know, guys and emotion has always been a weakness, but now we're going into a new consciousness level. It's time to talk about it and get some support.
Miller says he and his brother attended many Padres games together, and now he knows part of his brother will always be at Petco Park. And here is a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. NPR's Morning Edition examines new research that suggests the smoke from western wildfires is making thunderstorms more extreme in other parts of the country. And this week's KPBS Roundtable is all about playoff fever in San Diego and the wave and Padres creating memories for a new generation of fans. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Previs Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.